cover. And for some reason, people really love this cover. To put this back in because I forgot to show it. Issue 101 has this John Byrne cover. Hi, I'm Glenn Simpson, and I've collected comics for over 40 years, and I'm showing off my collection one box at a time. Today we're looking at box number 121. We are going to start off with some more Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man. We will finish that up. We will get into some Phantom Lady, Phantom Stranger, some things like that. We'll get into Phoenix. We will have some Plastic Man, and we will have some other stuff, and then find our way into Power Girl. So we got a lot of good stuff today. Thanks so much for being here. Like, comment, subscribe. Always love to hear from your comments. If there's anything inside any of these packs you'd like to see more of, let me know. We'll make a special video just for that. But in the meantime, hey, let's get going here on Glenn Simpson's Comics. All right, so we pick up where we left off with Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man, issue 74. This is Deb Whitman. She is a friend of Peter Parker's, and I remember this storyline. Basically, in an effort to protect his secret identity, he is gaslighting the heck out of this poor girl, unintentionally, really, but, you know, just doing the standard secret identity things. And I think she like saw him crawl out of a wall, you know, out of a window or whatever. And it basically, you know, really drives her nuts. So that I think was an interesting look at the things that go on when you're trying to do this whole secret identity thing. I remember that. 74. 76. Black Cat got hurted in a fight with the owl, I believe. Look, red blood. You don't see that very often. Right there. Uh, 77. Versus Daredevil's usual foe, the Gladiator. Somebody asked the other day on Reddit who made all the costumes, and I forgot about him. When he quit being Gladiator, he, you know, went into the costume making business. I forgot about that. 80 with J. Jonah Jameson's Spotlight. Right there. 81, one of my earlier comics that I bought at the time. Spider-Man hooking back up with Cloak and Dagger. Again, they were clearly becoming popular, and thus, you know, that popularity would lead to them getting their own series. Issue 81. Issue 84. Kind of your basic Spider-Man story. Nothing groundbreaking. 85. So we've reached the point in, you know, Spider-Man history, if you will. We've got the Hobgoblin coming along. Black Cat clearly got better from her issue earlier. Got Al Milgrom doing a lot of the art. Al is not necessarily everybody's cup of tea, but I think he got it done, man. Issue 85. 87, we've got the infamous secret identity reveal where Peter Parker decides, you know, I love Black Cat. I'm not gonna, you know, it's wrong for me to keep her my identity a secret from her. So he brings her home. He takes off his mask. He explains who he is, and she's like, "Oh my God, please put the mask back on." Not because he's ugly, but because like she was into the excitement of the Spider-Man identity, and she just, the idea of, you know, plain old Peter Parker, the newspaper photographer, just totally, you know, lost it for her. Now that should have been a red flag, but, you know, she's hot, so they kept going. 87. Issue 88. A fight against Cobra and Mr. Hyde. There. 89. Power search. So Black Cat figures out that if I'm going to be Spider-Man, if I'm hanging out with Spider-Man, I better have more powers, because she's just a thief. And so she goes talking to Reed Richards and all these people about how to get powers, and she ends up going to the Kingpin to get powers. So, and Spider-Man finds out about it, and he is not happy about it. 89. I'm sorry, wait, what was that? Make sure we're doing this right. Yeah, 89. 90. We've got the Black Cat searching for Spider-Man. The reason she can't find him is he is gone on the into the Secret Wars miniseries at the moment, and he actually, at the end of the story, he pops back out, and this is the second appearance of the black, symbiote costume. Issue 90. Then we got 91. Clearly, he forgave her for going to the Kingpin for powers. I don't think, actually, he may not know yet, come to think of it. I think that was a over-dramatic cover. But I think it was a deceptive cover, because I don't think he knows that she got powers or where she got powers from yet. So 91, and I say that because I'm remembering a cover that's coming up in a bit. 92, right there. New villain created called The Answer. There he is. And rolling this through issue and through 97. Then I believe here in 98, with the Kingpin showing up here, I believe this is where where Peter finds out, or the Kingpin comes in and says, okay, well, now that I want something from you for having given you the power, and that kind of thing. But this is also the first appearance of the Spot, who would go on to be in the second Spider-Verse movie. So there you go, issue 98. And issue 99 is his first cover appearance as the Spot. There. He goes to work for the Kingpin. Meanwhile, over in Amazing, Spider-Man has found out that the symbiote is, the costume is a symbiote. He's taken it off. Symbiote wants to come back. So that's a threat. And then, of course, the Kingpin's a threat, and the Spot's a threat. And lots of threats here in issue 100. With a little editing magic, we're going to put this back in because I forgot to show it. Issue 101 has this John Byrne cover, and it's just the interior is just a Spider-Man versus Killer Shrike story, but this has just always been a very popular cover, and again by John Byrne, and right now it's a big boy book. So there you go, issue 101. We got 102 there. I need to get that price tag off of there. Oh, sorry. 105, little team up with the Wasp, who's all about the gang wars. I don't know why. I don't know what that's, she's kind of, that's not really her bag. But oh no, the Wasp has been hurt. I will avenge you, even though I'm not an Avenger yet. 6. 108. So now we're getting some gritty stuff here. I believe Peter David is writing, and this, Peter Parker becomes the sort of grim and gritty Spider-Man book. Peter's got his cloth Spider-Man black suit, and the Sin Eater is a serial killer who's going around killing folks. Right there. 109, continuing that story. Oop. 112, Kyle Baker cover there. $113. Some more. Oh, you messed up, man. Is that Aunt May? Oh, you messed up. There's a history of burglars threatening Peter's relatives. There you go. 115. 116. Here's a interesting little item. So Sabretooth showing up in Peter Parker. Of note that Sabretooth, I don't think had, he was not, associated with Wolverine for a long time in his history, and probably isn't yet. So he was just happened to be another sort of claw-oriented, cat-oriented villain for the longest time. 116. He first showed up in Iron Fist. I mean, really. 117. So Spider-Man's gone missing again. Black Cat's looking for him again. There's a 3-part series that ran through the 3 books. Because right now you've got, I believe, Amazing, Peter Parker, and Web of Spider-Man coming out every month. And so there's a 3-part series going on in there about where he is, that he has been captured. So, but Black Cat's checking out with Doctor Strange, see if he knows. 120, got your Marvel 25th anniversary cover there. $121. Another price tag that needs to come off. That one looks like it wants to come. There we go. Aha! I think this is one of those, the same scene seen from 3 different perspectives. What is it? What's Ramadan? Something like that. No, that's not right. There's a movie, that's famous for being the same situation is told by 3 or 4 different people, and you see it from their point of view, and so it's a little different each time. I think this is an homage to that. The story is there's a bank robbery, and Spider-Man and Mary Jane and Jonah are all in there, and of course they all see the situation differently. I think that's this one. 121. 124. We got your basic Spider-Man Doc Ock thing going on. Alright, then we go to 125. We've got the new Spider-Woman. So Jessica Drew, the original Spider-Woman, had retired. So they introduced this Spider-Woman in the Secret Wars thing. And kind of coincidentally, she and Spider-Man had the same costume, essentially. And Spider-Man's was the Venom symbiote. So I don't know if they ever explained how she ended up with a costume that looked like the Venom symbiote. But anyway, she's visiting there. We jump to 128. Yeah, Black Cat got this ugly thing as a costume for a while, and no, I don't think anybody liked it. Issue 128. 129 versus the sort of assassin called the Foreigner. I always thought that was a cool name when I was a kid. The Foreigner. Through 131, beginning this is the what do you call it? I don't know. It's Vermin. It's Craven the Hunter. That thing right there. Got Mike Zeck. It's famous thing. Issue 131. And 132. Now, towards the end of the last video, I mentioned that this series started off as Spectacular, officially became Peter Parker for a while, and then shifted off to being Spectacular again. So that's actually how I've got it broken up. So 132 is where it stops being Spectacular, or stops being Peter Parker again. So tune in the future when we get to Spectacular Spider-Man. But that's 132, the conclusion of this 6-part that was running between I think Amazing and Spectacular. During that span, it had some annuals. Here's one of them. We find out about one of Aunt May's old flames. Once again, gosh, the Aunt May is old to be just the sister of Peter Parker, or the sister of Peter Parker's, or the wife of, I think I say so. She was married to Ben, and Ben was the brother of Peter's father. So, but anyway, you know, just in terms of generationally, I don't know why they made her so darn old. But we fixed that, didn't we, with Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Issue 4 through issue 7. A little follow-up to the Spider-Man Mary Jane marriage. There. Alright. So then, a few years later, we have a follow-up Peter Parker the Spectacular Spider-Man series, Chip Zdarsky writing. I say a few years later, many years later. A few years ago. There. Got issue 6 of that. Hang on. Watch this. Great. Now we can all get on with our lives. You won't be staying up at night worrying about me taping that down. And then we hit the time frame where Marvel did their big legacy thing and renumbered most of the series to where they would have been if they'd never renumbered. And I guess this was the total for the Peter Parker, or for the Spectacular, and then the Peter Parker Spectacular, and then the Spectacular, and then the Peter Parker they've had since then. So it's somewhere in there. There would be a chart. But 297 through 304. For those who are new to my videos, the thicker the pack, the less, big a deal the books issues inside are. 304. But hey, request and I will make a video showing every single one of them for a series. 305. Right there. Please don't ask for that for like Amazing or something that's really long. But otherwise, 313. We got some beauty covers, and that's the final issue. We're in Spider-Geddon, right there. That had an annual, right there. Spider-Man getting on Jonah's nerves. All right, so that ends the Peter Parker stuff. So now we get into the Phantom section, beginning with the Phantom. So the Phantom actually predates Superman. He was a newspaper strip character. He's a guy. He lives in the jungle. He fights pirates and things. It's a multi-generational thing. There's always, he quits his mission long enough to go out and mate and generate an heir, a male heir, and then the male heir is trains and becomes the new Phantom when he comes of age, or when the older one is time for him to retire. So it seems like he never dies. It seems like he's immortal, but of course it's really the different guys all along the way. Lots of different publishers have done comic books with him, but here in 88ish, DC gets the license and does a miniseries. This 4-part miniseries right here, issue 1 through issue 4, written by Peter David, Joe Orlando on art. And then he got a regular series that I didn't do. I'm not like in love with the Phantom. He's okay. But I had issue 2, and so I'm like, well, let me get issue 1, because I don't have that weird just have issue 2 of something. So that's issue 1. And that's issue 2. I probably got issue 2 back when I was trying to finish out that miniseries and just got the wrong one or something. Then we have Phantom Lady. So Phantom Lady is a 1940s hero, originally from Quality Comics, she is generally known for her skimpy costume. They kind of modified it and updated it for this series, but DC bought the Quality characters. Those characters were put on what they called Earth X, where the Axis powers won World War II, and then after the Crisis kind of merged everything, and that team also showed up in the series called Freedom Fighters. But then after the Crisis and all kinds of there were various versions, and then there were 2 or 3 of these series, and they all seem to involve those Quality / Freedom Fighters characters. That these came out during the New 52, but you see it doesn't say New 52 on it, and so it's got a kind of a weird kind of canonicity, as it were. There's Human Bomb as another one, and Dollman is another character from Quality, and so we've got a new version of Dollman that's hanging out with her here. But this was a new version, and I just don't know that they ever showed this one again. So I don't know. I did trademark preservation. That's all I could think of. The one thing about the original is there was a period of time where you had to file paperwork to maintain your copyright on something, and eventually that was legally changed. So you all have to do is, if you created it, you have the copyright. But for a while there, you had to renew them, and so there are some early Phantom Lady stories that must have hit the public domain, but DC owned the trademarks, I believe, for Phantom Lady. So that is where over at AC Comics, Americomics, you wound up with like Night Vale, and some other characters who looked a lot like the original Phantom Lady, but had different names and some things like that. And I believe that is because they took those old stories and reprinted them, but they couldn't say Phantom Lady, so they changed them a little bit, and they created new stories based on that version. So anyway, that's a lot to say about this this never again seen miniseries. So anyway, issue 1 through issue 4. Then we get to the Phantom Stranger. Now, I've never been a big Phantom Stranger guy. He's just not somebody I can relate to, if you will. But during the Blackest Night crossover, so the thing about Blackest Night is, dead heroes are coming back to life. Well, so as a funny thing, they brought some series back to life and did one more issue. So apparently his old series ended with 41. So then they did a 42nd issue of Phantom Stranger, and they did this with some other series as well. So since it was part of the crossover, I went ahead and got that. Phantom Stranger is this mysterious guy who goes around, and usually you find him pointing other superheroes in the direction of things that they need to go take care of. He seems like that's granted, in his original stories he would get into things firsthand, but it's just funny. That's what I always think of because I usually read him in Justice League stories, and he would just show up and go, "Oh, there's this thing going on, go fix it." But anyway, 42. Then so that's technically an extension of his first series. His second series was a 4-issue miniseries. Mike Mignola of Hellboy fame and doing art. P. Craig Russell. Paul Kupperberg writing, issue 1, and he's fighting Eclipso, the magical being who is activated by an eclipse of the sun. Issue 4, right there. That's a very short version of what Eclipso is. Then we reach the New 52, and hey, the Phantom Stranger is getting his own series, and like most of the series, after about a year they did these 0 issues. So numerically speaking, this isn't chronologically speaking, this is not the first issue, but numerically it is. So this is the 0 issue of Phantom Stranger from the New 52, and then we get into issue 1. I can't remember if I have all of these or not. There's issue 1 there, though, through issue 8. I think the title changes to Trinity of Sin, Phantom Stranger, and I might have some. Of those, I do have some of those. But I may not have all of those. I think that was the point where I quit buying it originally, and so I've just been getting them from dollar boxes and things. But got Frankenstein, as known from the Creature Commandos cartoon. There you go. Let me get to Phantom Zone. So the Phantom Zone in general is the prison on Kryptons, where if you were a criminal, they zapped you into this parallel dimension or this pocket dimension, and where you would serve out your time. Well, the problem is the planet blew up, and but the people there was no rehabilitation there either. So every once in a while, those guys would get out and they would come to Earth and they would mess with Superman, and he would have to put them back in. And this is actually one of the earliest limited series. So back in the day, if you started a comic book series, you had the intention of running it indefinitely. And here in the mid to late 70s, we start with the idea of the mini-series, where we know we're only going to do 4 issues or whatever. So this is, I believe, Steve Gerber, Gene Colan doing Phantom Zone, where the villains get out, and all the heroes have to kind of get together and get them back in there. Issue 1 through issue 4 right there. There was a pretty good throwback in this. There had been like a Silver Age story where one of the Phantom Zone detainees had served his sentence and had genuinely decided, he didn't want to be, he didn't want to do any harm to anybody anymore. And so through some machinations, he lost his powers and he lost his memory. So Superman, sets him up with a job at the Daily Planet, and so that's the guy that they bring back in this story. So there was a little bit of a little deep cut there. We've got jumping over to Phases of the Moon Knight. This was a Moon Knight series that came out. I think this one was alongside. Yeah, this was. They had instituted the idea that there had been multiple Moon Knights over time. When have there? Have you ever noticed that now there's like most superheroes, there's more than one over time? Like now we have more than one Iron Fist and more than one Moon Knight, and what else? Of course, we have more than one Black Widow, and not just in a legacy, passing it down, from the main one that we know to somebody else, but like a historical Ghost Riders. Yeah, we got lots of Ghost Riders. So anyway, I guess that's just a thing now. Phases of the Moon Knight, different stories of different Moon Knights over time. Issue 1 through issue 4, right there. Phoenix, another character that there's been more than one of throughout history. This is from the Ashes, the post Krakoa line of books. Got Jean Grey. She goes off into space and she's playing around with cosmic stuff. Issue 1 there through issue 4. Got a few variants here because sometimes I can't see the variant before I order it, but I'm rolling the dice that we're going to end up with another sort of like the Arthur Adams Young Allies cover with Firestar that is such a hot prospect these days because of the, hopefully it'll be an attractive enough cover, shall we say, that people it'll hold some, maybe go up in value, maybe. But I'm paying the same amount for it as the regular issue, so it's not, it's just a B cover, or C or D, but it's not, I'm not paying more for it. Let's see. Okay. And we've got issue 5, another variant there. Through issue 8. More variants. Issue 9. Not a variant for some reason. Through 12. Actually, I think I'm just looking, the A covers are kind of the hotter, if you will, covers there. 13. Down the cable through 15. And then that series ends as they go into the Age of Revelation. Then we get some various things. So, all right. So Marvel, in the 90s, buys out this company called Malibu and starts having their characters cross over. And within the Malibu stuff, they start doing a Phoenix storyline. So the Phoenix Force is going to, I don't know, take over and, you know, rise in the Malibu universe. And there was this big crossover-y thing, and the Phoenix Resurrection, and then so there's individual one-shots. And I don't know, I got them all at different times, so it's kind of hard to follow. It was hard to follow, but you know, got Prime and Bishop, some various X-Men, Mantra, Nightman, Banshee. Got Phoenix Resurrection Aftermath, some X-Men in there, Prime. Just not a wraparound cover. And Revelations with a Phil Jimenez cover. There. Then back at Marvel, we have Phoenix Resurrection. So let's see if I'm remembering this right. So towards the end of the sort of new X-Men stuff, Jean Grey dies again, and then she's dead for a while, and then we get to this point where things are getting kind of hairy for the X-Men, and the Beast brings the original 5 X-Men forward in time to because somehow that's going to fix the problems. Wolverine is dead, but Old Man Logan is hanging around with the X-Men. So you've got a Jean Grey, but the situation happens, and we are resurrecting original OG Jean Grey. So there you go, issue 1. There, her suit sinks into her belly button. Through issue 5, right there, of Phoenix Resurrection. Then there's also some hinkiness with the Phoenix Force. So Jean Grey comes back, but the Phoenix Force isn't necessarily just like always with her. And for a while, the Phoenix power is in Echo, the otherwise street level character, and she joins the Avengers, and she has a mini-series where she is, has the Phoenix and is doing stuff. So issue 1, she's Native American writer, good deal. Through issue 5, kind of fighting that demon-y thing that Forge is always dealing with. We get Phoenix, the Untold Story. So in the early 80s, Marvel tells the story of how Jean Grey loses her mind with the power of the Phoenix. She goes off into space. She destroys a sun, which kills a planet full of sentient beings. She comes back. She's then the Shi'ar and the Imperial Guard bring the X-Men to the moon for her to stand trial, and there's a big fight. And at the end of the fight, Jean Grey is killed and that's how she pays for her what she did. But that was not the original story. Originally, she was not going to die. She was just going to lose her powers or something like that. And at the time, editor Jim Shooter said, no. She killed a whole planet. That's not a suitable punishment for somebody who killed destroyed a whole planet. So we've got to kill her off. And so, but that artwork had already been drawn, and so this is a representing of that story with the original art, with the original conclusion that had been drawn. It's just a one shot there. The Pitt. So the Pitt is part of the Marvel New Universe, and the New Universe was a line of comics they did in the mid-'80s just to kind of try to, it's a different universe of different kinds of heroes, more realistic, or it was for a while, and then it wasn't selling, so then they went nuts. And as I understand it, so Starbrand was one of the series. I know that part. And it was being written by Jim Shooter, and then and Jim Shooter, based it in Pittsburgh, where Jim Shooter is from, and the hero of it had a lot of similarities to his life, and so he had a lot of ties to it. So then Jim Shooter leaves Marvel, and John Byrne is given the assignment of writing writing Starbrand. So John Byrne, not being any fan of Jim Shooter, the first thing he does is blow up Pittsburgh. And Pittsburgh, being blown up, leaves a big gaping hole full of scary waste and from the destruction. And so that hole that is left is called the Pitt. So this is a one shot that just gets into some details around what happens after you blow up Pittsburgh, PA. Then a different kind of Pitt is from Image. A big burly dude in the style of Image, early Image, called Pitt. I don't remember what Pitt's thing is, but I got a couple of issues of it. Issue 1. There's a better look at Pitt. Grr. Chains. Grr. Claws. Grr. At some point I picked this up. So I think this was when the Watchmen movie came out. So there was a resurgence of interest in the Watchmen. So, but the problem with that is that at the time they only just had the 12-issue series in trade paperback form to sell to people. So it's like, well, what do we need to get people some other stuff to buy. And so they said, well, what else was kind of gritty and serious and would be of interest to someone who had just read Watchmen? So they did these reprints of the first issues of various series. And so this one is of Planetary from the Wildstorm stuff, book issue 1. After Watchmen, what's next? Let's see, we have Planet Hulk. So, not what you might think it is. So, Secret Wars. They did all these miniseries. A lot of the miniseries had the names of the series were some previous Marvel storyline, but it's like they just took the name and then just extrapolated from that a new story. And so this is about a Captain America trying to survive in a world full of Hulks, basically. So it's nothing to do with the actual original story, Planet Hulk storyline. But this is issue 1 through issue 5. So then we have Planet of the Apes, Green Lantern number 3. So lately, in buying back issues, one of the things I've been doing is looking at some of the more expensive books on my want list and going ahead and getting those when I can. And that sometimes means just getting, random issues, but then I kind of upped the priority of the rest of the issues in the series. But so for at some point I had put Planet of the Apes Green Lantern on there because, hey, you know, it's Green Lantern. But so far I only have a couple of issues of Planet of the Apes Green Lantern. So that's this issue 3, and again, because these are the more expensive issues, I think this is pricey because Dan Mora did the cover, and of course he's really hot right now with all of his work at DC. We've also got issue 6, which didn't turn out to wind up being that big a boy a book. You'll notice no red dot. We've got Planet-Size X-Men, kind of a one-shot, part of the Hellfire Gala, so during the Krakoa period, they would have these, it's a takeoff of the Met Gala they have in New York, where everybody wears really fancy clothes and has a big party. Planet-Size X-Men. This is some stuff that's going on during one of the Hellfire Galas. And we've got Plasmer. Kind of a weird series. I know this woman transforms into that thing. It's from the Marvel UK books. I think there was some sort of issues over the name. And somebody else had to change their name. Warriors of Plasm or something. We're going to be Warriors of Plasmer, or Warriors of Plasm. You know, they fought it out and decided, you know, and then whoever brought it up didn't win, or something like that. Issue 1 through issue 4. Right there. Then, speaking of Plaz, we have Plastic Man. So, of course, Plastic Man was a 1940s hero, another Quality Comics hero, and his series ran in Police Comics for years and years and years. They of course got bought with the other Quality heroes, but really kind of got set aside from the other Quality heroes in terms of that whole like freedom fighters thing for the longest time. Earth X, whatever. His original series ran in the 1960s, and I don't have any of them, but my understanding is for some reason they said, oh, this is the son of the original Plastic Man. I guess they didn't want to separate him from the 1940s. And so that series, I believe, ran 10 issues. So then in the late 70s, or mid to late 70s, when they were bringing back a lot of series, they brought it back here at issue 11. But it's the original Plastic Man with no discussion about a son or it being anything to do with the 40s. I mean, he doesn't deny. At no point does he deny being, around in the 1940s, given that he's Plastic Man. He could be not aging at all, or you just don't know. But he's just kind of, at this point, a modern hero with the Plastic Man powers. And so that is issue 11 there. And then that series continues into issue 12. And through 14. Ernie Chan. There. Through issue 15. Issue 17. There. I believe Kurt Schaffenberger. Maybe. I might have that wrong. No, Ramona Fradden is probably doing all this. Issue 18. Through issue 20. So that's the end of that one. Then, you know, they're bringing back every once in a while. Here in 1988, Phil Folio, Hilary Barta. Phil Folio had, I can't remember the name of the, he was from the some indie series that he'd really made a name for himself, and so he was getting, you know, brought into the big leagues here at DC. Plastic Man, issue 1. In between, I should say, Plastic Man had really never, you know, didn't go away. He was in, he had a run in Adventure Comics. He had a backup in Super Friends. So yeah, I mean, he was continually, for the longest time, being published. Now there'd been a little little break here before this 88 series, but anyway, issue 1 through issue 4. There. Then I'm trying to get my time frame straight. I think we get to 2004. He is probably in JLA by now. Is or has been in JLA as a member of that version of the Justice League, and he really spent a lot of time there. Got a lot of development there, a lot of screen time. But they gave him this, gave Kyle Baker kind of carte blanche to just do whatever he wanted. So Baker is writing, drawing, you know, he's doing everything on this series. And I don't think I have all of it, but I've got big runs. That needs to come off. It's not very presentable, is it? Oh, you get the picture. Issue 1. You get the picture. Anyway, issue 1. Through issue 6. Kyle Baker, known for his just wild and crazy ideas and art. Yeah, I don't have 7 through 11, but here we go. I'm at 12. We jump to a different, at least a fill-in. It's the Scott Morse guy. Plastic Man's, I guess, a good guy to bring in those weird indie guys on. Through 16, right there. The covers didn't really add up to much, but in terms of telling you what's going on, but there was actually like a running story that was going through, just some hilarious stuff. We got issue 17. Through issue 20. And that's either the last issue or the last issue I have. That one. And a few years ago, Gail Simone comes on, does another Plastic Man series. Didn't really set the world on fire. Issue 1. Oh, this is a good one. Through issue 6. There. I think the covers were better than the story. We've got a one-shot. JLA presents Plastic Man, 38-page special. So again, during his time with the JLA, doing a little special issue, one-shot. All right. So then, I believe technically the name of this book is just Point One, which is why it's right here. And it was the Point One books but we're kind of an annual thing, and it would be a one-shots that would kind of tell you what was about to come out in the various Marvel books. It would be new art, but it'd be preludes to various things that were going to be happening in the various Marvel series. Speaking of weirdly alphabetical combinations, we've got Phantom Lady, whom we talked about earlier. We got Plastic Man here in this facsimile of Police Comics. And I even mentioned Human Bomb earlier. So this was the comic that introduced Plastic Man and Firebrand. Firebrand would he would run through, I think, if I understand correctly, had a pretty decent 1940s run. When the All-Star Squadron run came out in the 1980s, Rod Riley here, Firebrand, was like injured, and his sister Danette Riley became the new Firebrand, and amazingly enough, she wound up having fire powers. What a coincidence! So there you go, and he's got his see-through shirt because it was the 40s, and that's what you do. Power Comics. So I believe this is like a reprint of, but it's Dave Gibbons and Brian Bolland from the UK comics. Of course, Gibbons is the artist on Watchmen. Brian Bolland has done a gajillion things for DC, covers and The Killing Joke, and they had a previously, I believe, I don't know if this is a reprint or if this is, it was just The Jungle Years, so that makes me think this was a reprint, but reprinting some of their work relating to this character, whoever he was. So there you go. Then we get to the Power Company. So this was a sort of DC's attempt to do a Heroes for Hire. It's a company, and you can go there and hire superheroes to do things. And the story of how all of these various characters, most of them are new. A couple of them are, this is Bork. Bork was a villain in a early 70s Brave and the Bold, who had gotten a little bit, so there'd been a little bit of publicity around that story because there was a Supreme Court justice whose last name was Bork. Bork. I sound so southern when I say Bork. And so then, so that guy was in the news, and so then people were like bringing, comic book people were bringing that book. Oh, look, it's Bork. But then, I believe this is Kurt Busiek, yes, went back to that deep cut and brought that guy back. Manhunter, and some new folks and things, so good stuff. Issue 1, got Green Arrow teaming up. I mean, if you just like some good superhero stuff. Issue 8. Then in issue 9, weirdly enough, Josiah Power, the leader and head of the company, dies. And that changes everything. So then the book changes, and I guess it's not a key, but it is people pay a little more for this one, so I'm guessing it's because of the death of the character. Issue 10, the show must go on, but people are also paying a little more for this. there. Don't know why. Issue 11. Firestorm shows up. We hadn't seen him in a while at this point, so it's good to see old Firestorm. There, issue 11. Through the end of the book, issue 18, after which I don't think we see most of these characters ever again. Maybe, in a background shot here and there. Now, before the first issue came out, there were a series of one-shots introducing each character. And that original Brave and the Bold issue had been Batman and Flash. So each issue has like a normal, like a known DC hero, encountering this new hero or character for the first time. So they're naturally the ones that are following up on their previous adventure and dealing with the generally rehabilitated Bork right there. And the Witchfire character, Wonder Woman, encounters her first, as well as she is having her first appearance, origin, whatever. So then, a couple of years ago, we had a new power company, Recharged, and it's kind of the same idea, except it's all black heroes. And I think it's kind of a different flavor of, but no Milestone here. But so I guess it's just making that the premise, a team of black heroes. So issue 1 of the one shot of that. We haven't really seen the follow up to that yet. Then we have, I've mentioned in previous videos, sometimes I'll just get things if they just have superheroes in them. And Power Factor would be one of them. This is just not very good writing. The art's not that hot, but at some point I found it in a dollar box. And then I got 1 or 2, and then I screwed up, and I don't have the right run. So this is issue 1 of like the first series. Okay, bear with me. And then we have issues 2 and 3 of a second series. So I gotta get, the rest of these at some point. Issue 2. Yeah, there you go. But issue 3. So then we get to Power Girl. Who is Power Girl? So of course, in normal continuity, we've got Superman, and then his cousin from Krypton arrives on Earth, Kara Zor-El, and she becomes Supergirl, and she has many, many adventures. Then, of course, at the same time, you have Earth 2, which was the Earth where all the 1940s heroes lived. And as we made their way into the 1970s, they were kind of getting older. But we learn in All-Star Comics, the revitalization of that series, that Superman also had a cousin from Krypton arrive on Earth, although there was a much bigger gap between when she arrived. And she was also Kara Zor-El, and Superman and Lois had raised her. But one difference was that she was kind of surly. She was kind of very independent, and she did not want to be beholden to Superman. And so when the time came for her to become a superhero, she chose not to be, Supergirl. She took a different name, Super Power Girl. Didn't put the S on her suit, that kind of thing. So she remains a prominent Earth 2 character for a while. We get to the Crisis on Infinite Earths. Crisis on Infinite Earths rewrites history such that the only Superman that had ever been was like the younger one that, similar to the one that was from Earth 1. There hadn't been a Superman in the 1940s, but Power Girl was a reasonably popular character, so they wanted to keep her around. So they keep her around. But now she has, what's her history? We don't know. And so she eventually, it's as if the new universe creates a history for her, and in her new history, she is the granddaughter of Orion, who is a mystical character from DC who had existed in the time of old Atlantis. And instead of being rocketed from the planet Krypton, she had been, shot through time to the future, relatively speaking, and to be saved. And so that is kind of what they're rolling with here in this miniseries. She's in that granddaughter of Orion mode, and she is dealing with some mystical threats that are the byproduct of that. So issue 1. So her secret identity is Karen Starr, and her series was inked by Arnie Starr. Issue 1 through issue 4. Right there. So she goes on, she's, a regular member of the Justice Society and things, and eventually over in the JSA classified series has an arc, and she figures out that she's not really the granddaughter of Orion, and then she has to figure out who she is, and eventually she figures out the truth, that she is from a dimension, a Krypton, and or Earth that existed in a dimension that no longer exists, and she's just left over from that. So she kind of comes to terms with that. So then she gets her own series again in 2009, based on her popularity and her, there's a lot of cosplayers that love them some Power Girl. And of course, for those who are just encountering Power Girl for the first time, one of her defining characteristics is her bosom, and it's a known thing that's a prominent feature of her of Power Girl. So issue 1 right there. Issue 2, fighting the Ultra Humanite, who is an old, technically an old Superman villain, but really an old Earth 2 Superman villain, but who is a genius who can transplant his brain into different bodies, and had for a long time transplanted it into the body of this sort of genetically created ape, so that he would be strong while also being, smart. Issue 2. Issues 3 and 4. Issue 5. I'm not really sure why some of these are going for, if it's a red dot book, it's going for like over $20. I don't know exactly but they're not keys or anything, so I'm not sure why. Issue 6, this is all Gray, Jimmy Palmiotti, Justin Gray, Amanda Connor stuff. There. Through issue 12. At that point that team leaves. Judd Winnick comes on. There, issue 13 through 18. She kind of fights an evil clone of herself. Issue 19. She had been a part of the Justice League International, Justice League America group. 22, teaming up with Superman. She kind of, she had an off and on, not romantic, but an off and on relationship with the regular new Superman, because once she knew who she was, then it was like, well, I'm not from your Krypton, but I'm from a Krypton. 22. Issue 23. Through 26. A little play on the fact that she gets cosplayed so often. And then the series ends, and it ends with this Warren Liu cover. And for some reason, people really love this cover. Or this book, I guess it is the cover. Nothing special happening inside the book there, but just something about this cover causes people to spend, exchange larger amounts of money for it. I don't know why. Anyway, that is all for this box. Okay, so that was box number 121. Next time we'll do box 122. We will do some more Power Girl. It'll be all power in the next box. So Power Girl, Power of the Atom, Power of Shazam, Power Man and Iron Fist. So it's going to be a powerful episode next time. So I hope you'll be here. Thank you so much for being here for this one, and have a great day.